We're going to go. So today we're going to go with the theme of water, getting ready for summer, creating more fluidity in our joints and the physical body, and that spills over into our psycho-emotional body as we create more fluidity in the physical body. And there's a mudra that goes along with this, and it's called the Jala Mudra. It's the gesture of water. And quite simply, it would just be to take the tip of the thumb to touch the tip of the pinky. The other three fingers extend outward, and that's held with the backs of the palms on top of the thighs. And when we come to that part of the practice, I'll guide you through it again. And this mudra is especially helpful for instilling fluidity and flexibility, both in the physical body and in the psycho-emotional body. As I said, it helps to lubricate our joints, and it supports the health of the urinary, reproductive, digestive, and eliminatory systems. So that's kind of where we're headed today. We'll do a lot of stuff with our joints. We'll do a lot of flowing here just to create more fluidity in our physical bodies. Hopefully that'll spill over into the psycho-emotional, helping us to flow through life more easily. So we'll get started in our seated mountain pose. So checking in that your feet are in line with your hips, knees are in line with ankles here, beginning to sit up nice and tall, maybe bringing those shoulders up towards the ears, they wash back and down. Maybe softening the gaze down towards the floor, maybe closing the eyes entirely. Beginning to tune in to your physical body. Beginning to notice if any areas might be calling out to your attention. Areas that might be a little tighter, maybe a little stiffer. Maybe you have some aches or pains going on. And just taking a moment to notice, not having any expectations. And if you did notice that you might be dealing with some challenges today, I'd ask you to honor these challenges as we move through this practice. Simply using the practice as an opportunity to explore, to work at a level that feels right for you. And now I'd invite you to bring your awareness even one layer deeper to your breath, without changing anything just yet. Beginning to notice the natural rhythm of your inhales and your exhales. Noticing whether your breath is deep or shallow today. Is your breath coming from your belly or your ribs? Maybe beginning to notice the length of the inhales as they compare to the length of your exhales. Just taking a moment to tune in to your breath, right here and right now. Inviting you now to bring your awareness even one layer deeper to your thoughts, to your feelings, to your emotions. Beginning to notice anything at all that might be going on for you today in this area. Just acknowledging these thoughts and feelings. Trying not to engage with them if you can. Just letting them pass on by like the clouds in the sky. And if you can, begin to quiet your mind, letting go of all those things that you think you need to do. Taking this time just for you. And as the mind begins to quiet and settle, I'd invite you to set an intention for your practice today, possibly the intention of moving through life with greater ease and just being able to go with the flow. And taking a moment here to set any intention that might be resonating with you today. And now I'd invite you to turn your palms to face up towards the sky if they're not there already. And softly curling in the pinky finger and the thumb so that the tips of each one touches each other. And the other three fingers extend outward. And the backs of the palms rest softly on top of the thighs. Beginning to direct your awareness back to your breath. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Beginning to notice if your awareness is directed to any particular area of the body. And if it's not there already, I'd invite you to direct your awareness and your breath deep into the pelvis area, sending the inhales deep into the pelvis. Exhales to release any tension, any holding, any gripping. Continuing to grow the breath. Continuing to smooth out both sides of the breath. Continuing to match the length of the inhales with the length of the exhales. Sending the breath deep into the pelvis area. Creating long, smooth inhales. And equally long, smooth exhales. Noticing the ebb and the flow of your breath. And at the end of your next exhale, you can release the mudra, returning to the natural rhythm of your breath. Tuning in to any and all sensations that might be present. Noticing where your breath is at. Noticing your physical body. Noticing where your thoughts and emotions might be at. You're welcome to leave your eyes closed if they were shut, or softly open them. On your next inhale, we'll lengthen up through the spine, the crown of the head. And as you exhale, the head will turn to the right. Inhale will bring us back to center. And on the exhale, the head turns to the left. Inhale brings us to center. Exhale, head to the right. Inhale brings us to center. And the exhale, the head turns left. Inhale brings us to center. On the exhale, the chin drops down towards the chest. We'll soften the shoulders down away from the ears. Taking a full breath cycle into the back of the shoulders. A nice big inhale. Exhale releases any stress or tension you're holding in that area. On your next inhale, the chin will trace the right collarbone towards the right shoulder. And on the exhale, the chin will come back to center. On your next inhale, the chin traces the left collarbone towards the left shoulder. And on the exhale, we come back to center. One more time from side to side. All meeting with the chin towards the chest. We'll bring our fingers softly behind our head here. The elbows are nice and wide. The shoulders are soft away from the ears. And on your next inhale, we'll raise the nose and chin skyward any amount. And as we exhale, we'll lower it back down. Inhale to raise the nose and chin skyward. And exhale, lowers it back down. 2 more times at the pace of your breath. We'll all meet with our chin towards our chest. We can bring our palms down towards our shins. Next inhale brings that head back to neutral. We'll bring those shoulders forward up towards our ears. They'll wash back and down. And just a few nice, slow, intentional circles in this direction. Syncing the movement with the breath. Inhales, raise those shoulders up, and the exhales, they wash back down and around. Let's do 2 more in this direction. Once the shoulders wash back and down, we'll pause here, and you can soften the eyes open at this point. And we'll keep with our water theme today, so it's a little bit of fun. We can bring our arms down to the side, and we'll do some swim strokes to wake up our shoulders here, the shoulder joints. So we'll start with a front freestyle crawl to bring the arm around in front, and then the opposite arm. And maybe the gaze follows behind you. So nice, big, slow movements, just waking up the shoulder joints here. Maybe creating some resistance, like you're really moving through water here. Let's just do 2 more from side to side. Take your time. And then we'll come to that seated neutral spine, and we'll do our backstroke. So inhale raises that arm, and then it goes back behind you on the exhale. And the gaze can follow. And again, if you want to create some resistance here with your arms, so you're moving through that water, whether you're in the ocean, a pool, the lake. And let's do 1 more from side to side. Take your time. We'll all meet back at center, and continuing with our strokes, we'll do some breaststroke. We'll bring our hands to heart center here. And inhale to sit up nice and tall. And as we exhale, we'll press forward, press through that water, and come all the way back around. Maybe inhaling forward and exhale to press back. Creating that resistance. Waking up the shoulders, the elbows. Let's do 2 more like this. Meeting back at our neutral spine. And there's 1 more stroke to do. It's the butterfly stroke. I'm not a fan of that, but it feels good when you're not in water. It's not as hard. So it looks something like this. You'll bring your arms back around, round that upper back, and the arms follow through. So just nice big movement here. We're starting to get that upper spine involved here. And again, creating some resistance. It's like you're going through water. And let's do 2 more just like this. And then we'll come up to that neutral spine and we'll work our elbow joint by taking the left palm underneath that right elbow. And we'll draw some small circles with our with our fingers, in front of you. So we're just going in one direction here. We're kind of cranking out that elbow joint, getting some fluid moving into that joint today. And then coming to stillness to take those circles in the opposite direction. And then we'll come to stillness and we'll swap it out. So the right palm under that left elbow, we're sitting up nice and tall, and just start to make some small circles in one direction here. So keeping the movement isolated just to that elbow joint, trying not to move the shoulder joint or the wrist joint at all. And then coming to stillness and circling in the opposite direction. And then coming to stillness, we'll bring our arms out in front of us, retract those shoulders into the upper back, pull the belly in, tailbone reaching down. And we'll start to alternate flexion and extension with our wrists here. Really reaching in both directions, getting a nice stretch, getting the fluid moving into the wrist joints today. And then coming to stillness on your next inhale, we'll spread those fingers nice and wide. And on an exhale, we'll squeeze them in tight. Inhale opens nice and big. Exhale, squeeze them in really tight. 3 more times. Last one, make it really good and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze it in. Release that tension, roll those wrists in one direction. And roll those wrists in the opposite direction. And then shake those hands out towards your thighs, up towards the sky. Maybe down towards your shins and up to the sky one more time. And then we'll come to stillness, back in our seated mountain pose. To do a few rounds of cat-cow. On your inhale, we'll spill those hip points forward, open up our heart space. And on the exhale, we'll round that back. Gaze is at the navel. Inhales are opening up our front body, and the exhales are opening up our back body. And just a few rounds here. And once again, tuning into any and all sensations that might be present for you today. Noticing your pelvis, low back, shoulders, the neck. And the next time you come to your rounded back cat shape, we'll be there, softening the shoulders down away from the ears. Full breath cycle into the back of the shoulders, a nice big inhale, and a nice big exhale. Inhale will bring us back to that neutral spine. We can open our feet wide to come into that goddess shape. Adjust your seat if you need to. So setting up our foundation here, we're really pressing our feet into the earth beneath us. We're reaching our knees towards that wall behind us. You're activating the inner thigh muscles, the outer hip muscles here. We're pulling the belly in as the tailbone reaches down. The low rib cage is knit together. We can bring those shoulders up to our ears. They wash back and down as we lengthen up through the spine and the crown of the head. We'll do some full body circles here. So your next inhale will lengthen that spine. And as we exhale, the heart comes to the right, to center, to the left, and then all the way back around. Keeping that spine nice and straight, especially that upper spine. And making this movement nice and fluid, finding some ease in the movement. Ease and fluidity. Let's do 2 more circles in this direction, taking your time. All meeting back at center to pause. And taking another big inhale here to lengthen that spine. And as we exhale, the heart comes to the left, towards center, to the right, and all the way back around. Continuing to find that fluidity, that ease in the movement. Let's do 2 more in this direction. Take your time. And then we'll come to stillness. We'll bring our arms down by our side. And imagining again, we're in the water. As we inhale, we'll press through that water to reach those palms skyward. And exhale, press through that water to bring those palms down. Inhale. And exhale to lower. Create all that resistance. 2 more times. Last time. Next inhale, let's bring those arms to shoulder height. Reach those palms towards the wall on either side of us. Nice big inhale here. Exhale, reach, 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 reach. Another big inhale. Exhale, reach, reach, reach to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale, reach, reach, reach to the left. Inhale to center, flip those palms skyward, reach the palms up to the sky, and exhale, hands to heart center. We'll come back to our seated mountain pose here. We'll start to work on our hip joint from here. So let's extend that right leg out in front of us. And we're going to sweep our foot to the right. Foot toes will point to the right on an inhale. And on an exhale, we're going to sweep that leg to the left, toes point to the left. Inhale opens that external rotation, and then exhale for that internal rotation. So just waking up our hip joint today, just a few more. Just kind of gliding along on your heel here. Let's do 1 more. And then bringing the sole of that foot in, we'll extend the opposite leg straight out in front of us, starting with the knee and the toe facing skyward. The foot is flexed. On your next inhale, we'll open that leg wide by sweeping out to the left. And then exhale, toes point to the right, coming back in. Inhale to open to the left. And exhale to bring it back in, toes pointing to the right. So we have our external rotation and our internal rotation going on here of our hip joint. You might find that one side is totally different from the other side. Let's do 1 more on this side. And then we'll bring the sole of that foot in and we'll come to circle out the right hip. So your choice, whether to have 1 hand under that thigh, right thigh, 2 hands, maybe challenge yourself with no hands. So up to you. On your next inhale, we'll raise that right knee up, open it wide, and exhale, circles it back in, around and around. Inhales open big, and the exhale circle back in and around. Let's do 2 more in this direction. And once those knees come to meet, you can take a pause. On your next inhale, we'll open that knee wide, bring it up skyward, and exhale it back in and around. So just the opposite direction. 3 more. And then the sole of that foot to the floor. You can give that quad some love if you need that hip flexor, a little massage or glides. We'll come to the other side, so your choice with your hands. Sitting up nice and tall. On your next inhale, we'll raise that left knee up, open it wide, and exhale it back into center. I think that was 5. I'm kind of losing count. We'll pause here. Take a little break, and then on your next inhale, we'll open that knee wide and we'll bring it up to the sky and exhale it towards center. So 3 more. And the last one, the sole of that foot can come to the floor. You can give that quad some love, that hip flexor some love. We'll come to work our knee joints a little bit today. So interlacing both hands under that right thigh, raising that knee up and pointing the foot down towards the floor. So we'll draw some small circles on the floor in front of us, just cranking out the knee joint, keeping the ankle joint and the hip joint nice and quiet, nice and still. Just getting some fluid moving into the knee joints today. Taking a pause here and then beginning to circle in the opposite direction. So you're just drawing a small circle on the floor in front of you. And then the sole of that foot will come to the floor and we'll swap it out with the left side. So palms under that left thigh, you're pointing the toes down towards the earth. And just start to make some small circles on the floor in front of you in one direction. Being mindful to keep that ankle joint still and the hip joint still. And then pausing to take those circles in the opposite direction. And then we'll come to stillness, and the sole of that foot can come to the floor. You can extend both your legs out in front of you. Maybe hold on to the seat for support if you want. So your knees, your toes are facing skyward, and we're just going to alternate that flexion and extension here. So we're really reaching like you're pressing on the gas and then coming back to get a nice stretch. And then coming to stillness, let's roll those ankles, the feet in one direction, mine are going out. And then circle in the opposite direction. And then we'll come to stillness, and we'll just do a little bit with our toes. Taking a nice big inhale here. And as we exhale, we'll squeeze those toes really tight. Inhale, opens toes up. Exhale, squeeze those toes tight. Inhale, opens. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, opens. And one more time, we'll really squeeze those toes nice and tight. And then open those toes nice and big, and then relax those muscles. We'll bring our feet into our seated mountain pose. And from here, we're going to come into a warrior shape. So your first choice would be to open that right knee wide into that V shape. So maybe you stay right here for this series. Another option is to take the leg that's in front of you in the front of the chair, extend it straight out in front of you. Sole of the foot's on the floor. Your third option might be to extend that front leg back behind you, and the foot is on the floor also. So checking in on your foundation, whatever's feeling good for you. Once you're set up, we'll bring our arms out to shoulder height, checking behind you that you're indeed at shoulder height. In front of you, gaze is over that front hand. We're in our warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2, taking a nice big inhale here. And a nice big exhale. We'll flip that front palm up to the sky. Next inhale, we'll lean it back for windswept warrior. And as we exhale, we'll come forward to our side angle pose. And we'll just flow here. Inhale into windswept. And exhale into Parsvakonasana. Let's do this 3 more times. And last time. Ending in our side angle pose, we can reach that upper arm all the way around to our hip. Press into that right palm to come up to neutral. Sliding that back foot forward into our V shape. And then coming back into our seated mountain shape. From here, we'll come into a figure 4 shape on the right side. So if your hips aren't having it today, you can cross at the ankle, right ankle over left. If you're able to get that right ankle on top of that left thigh, checking in the left knees in line with the left ankle. If you've chosen this shape, this right foot is flexed here and the hands can rest softly on top of the shins here. We'll come into a forward fold here. We'll inhale to lengthen our spine. And as we exhale, we'll hinge forward right at that hip crease, keeping that upper spine nice and straight, opening our heart space here. Inhales, find that spine lengthening. And the exhales, find us softening into this shape. Beginning to direct your awareness and your breath into that right outer hip area, into anywhere you're feeling sensation. Beginning to send your breath into that area. Find the inhales flooding into that right outer hip. And the exhales are washing away any tension, any holding, any gripping. Just letting it all go. Continuing to release any tension, any tightness with each exhalation. Creating more fluidity and ease in the physical body today. Let's take one more breath cycle here. And on your next inhale, we'll come back up to that neutral spine. We can help the sole of that right foot down. Coming into that V shape on the left side of our chair. So we're opening up that left knee wide, either taking the V shape, either extending that front leg forward, foot's on the floor, or if you're able to extend that right leg all the way back, the knee is straight, the foot's on the floor. And this left knee's in line with your ankle here. Should be able to see your big toes. We're reaching our arms out at shoulder height, checking behind you, checking in front of you. Shoulders are soft away from the ears. We're in our warrior 2 shape. We'll take a full breath cycle here. A nice big inhale and a nice big exhale. We can flip that front palm up to the sky. On your next inhale, we'll lean it back for windswept warrior. And as we exhale, we'll come forward into our side angle pose. Inhale, leans it back. Exhale, brings it forward to our side angle. 3 more times. And last time. all meeting in our side angle pose. We can take that upper arm and circle it all the way around to our hip. So we slide that extended leg forward into our V shape, and then coming back into our seated mountain shape. Doing our figure 4 shape on this side, we can either cross at the ankle, left ankle over right. If you're able to slide that left ankle up on top of that thigh, you can certainly take this shape, checking in that the right knee's in line with the right ankle. This left foot is flexed, helps to protect our knee. So sitting up nice and tall, taking an inhale here. And as we exhale, we'll start to hinge forward at that hip crease. Coming forward any amount, doesn't need to be big at all. Inhales, find your spine lengthening. And the exhales, find you softening into this forward fold. Beginning to bring your awareness into any sensation you're feeling in that left outer hip area. Beginning to direct your breath into that sensation. Inhales are flooding into that left outer hip. Exhales are washing away any tension, any holding, any gripping. Noticing the ebb and the flow of your breath. Letting go of any tension with each exhalation. Let's take one more full breath cycle here. And the inhale brings us back to that neutral spine. We can bring the sole of that foot down to the earth. And let's come off the chair for a little bit here. So we'll come up 3 times, coming into our Utkatasana, our chair pose. And the 4th time, we'll hold it there for a few breath cycles. If you're finding you're not getting out of your chair today, just imagine you're using all these muscles of your legs, hinging forward and pressing through your feet. And over time, you'll build up the strength to get up off the chair. So I like to start with my arms out in front of me, the palms facing each other, retracting those shoulders into the upper back, pulling the belly in, tailbone reaching down, taking a nice big inhale here. As you exhale, we'll hinge forward, we'll raise our seat a bit, and then sit back down. Hinge forward, raise our seat, and sit back down. And again. And this time as we hinge forward, we'll stay there. Hands can come to heart center. So just checking in that our toes are in line with each other, knees are in line with each other. That belly's still pulled in, the tailbone's reaching down, low rib cages knit together. You're welcome to stay right here for a few breath cycles. If it's in your practice, you're welcome to extend your arms out to shoulder height, facing up towards the sky with the palms. And then reaching those arms alongside the face, the ears here. And we'll take a breath cycle here, a nice big inhale. Exhale, sink a little deeper. Another inhale. Exhale, sink a little deeper. Inhale, presses through those feet, straightening those legs. The hands can come to heart center. And you can shake things out here. We'll come to stand behind our chairs today. Let's get a drink. So we'll stand behind the chairs today and we'll come into our downward facing dog to start. So just stepping back from your chair, any amount that feels comfortable for you today. Maybe your knees are bent. Maybe you like to bend and straighten. Maybe you like to pedal the feet and shimmy the hips a bit. And maybe you're just preferring stillness today. Wherever you're at, listen to your body and what it needs today. And then begin to tune into your physical body. Begin to notice this beautiful stretch in the arms and the shoulders and the side body. And the hamstrings are getting a nice stretch today. And then begin to bring your awareness back to your breath. Beginning to send the inhales deep into the pelvis area. Just a few breath cycles here. Let's take one more full breath cycle here, taking your time. And at the end of the exhale, we'll bend the knees. We're not going to step up to the chair, but looking forward, we're going to take that right foot and just step it up towards that, if you have a chair like mine, towards the right round bottom leg of the chair. And then that left foot's going to come in a bit. So we're on the ball of a foot, our foot, we're setting up in our Warrior One foundation. So your feet are hip distance apart, front foot is facing forward, that front knee is bent, left leg is straight, whole sole of the foot's on the floor. And let's bring our hands to our hips here and tack that right hip crease back so both hip points are facing our chair here. We'll bring our shoulders up to our ears, they wash back and down. And on your next inhale, we'll bring both arms up to the sky in our Warrior One, Virabhadrasana One. So we'll take a nice big inhale here. As we exhale, we'll press through the ball of the front foot and the arms will come down towards the floor. Inhale bends that front knee as we raise the arms skyward. And exhale presses through the ball of the foot, straightening that knee any amount. And let's do this 3 more times. The pace of your breath. And last time. We'll come into our Warrior One foundation once again. We'll press through the ball of that front foot to straighten that leg any amount, continuing to press through the ball of the foot. We'll inhale here to lengthen the spine. And as we exhale, we'll hinge forward, reach those palms forward. They can rest on the back of your chair here. We'll inhale to lengthen that spine and exhale, we'll lower down any amount. So we're getting a nice stretch in this right hamstring. Maybe the palms can come to your chair seat if you have a chair like mine. Not sure what kind of chair you guys are using. And just continuing to breathe into this forward fold. So we're continuing to tap this right hip crease back. Our lower back is nice and straight. You should be able to balance a cup of coffee, a cup of tea. And if you're very open here, you might be able to get those palms down towards the floor, coming into our pyramid pose. So there's lots of options here. And we'll just take a few breath cycles here. Let's take one more full breath cycle here. And then at the end of the exhale, we'll bend that front knee deeply. We'll step that back foot forward and come up to standing and just shake things out. And then we'll come back into our downward facing dog again. So we'll step back from our chair. Coming back into the shape that feels comfortable for you. Once again, tuning into your physical body, noticing the nice stretch you're getting, all this openness you're creating today. Bringing your awareness back to your breath, sending the breath deep into the pelvis, into the seat of your water element. Creating more ease, more fluidity in the physical body today. And let's take one more breath cycle here. And then at the end of that exhale, we'll bend the knees. The gaze will come towards the back of your chair, and we'll step that left foot forward. We'll slide that right foot in so that we're on the whole entire back foot, sole of that foot. Front knee is bent. We're coming into our warrior one shape, so we can put our hands on our hips here, tack that left hip crease back. Hip points are facing towards the back of your chair. The shoulders are soft away from the ears. We're pressing that right knee, the knee that's straight, we're pressing it towards the wall behind us. On your next inhale, we'll bring those arms up to the sky, Virabhadrasana 1. And then from here, we'll take another big inhale. And as we exhale, the arms will come down as we press through the ball of that front foot to straighten that knee any amount. And then inhale to bend that knee and raise those arms skyward. And exhale, straightens as the arms lower. 3 more times. And last time, we'll inhale our arms skyward. And as we exhale, we'll bring those arms down towards our chair. We'll press through the ball of that front foot to straighten that leg any amount. We'll inhale to lengthen our spine. And as we exhale, we'll hinge forward right at that hip crease. Coming down about halfway, a nice flat back here. Continuing to tack that left hip crease back, nice neutral pelvis here. Inhales will lengthen your spine and the exhales will soften. Maybe the hands come down towards the back of the chair. If you're very open, this side's tighter for me today. Maybe the fingertips come down to the floor. So inhales will lengthen that spine and exhales will find you softening into the forward fold. So pick what shape feels good for you today and just a few breath cycles. Maybe sending your breath into that hamstring, into anywhere you're feeling sensation today in the back of that left leg. And beginning to soften and release that tension and tightness with each exhalation. Take one more breath cycle here. And then on your next inhale, we'll start to straighten up, bending into that front knee, coming up to that neutral spine, and then stepping forward and shaking things out. And then let's come back down to seated. Class is going fast today. I had a few more things to do standing, but we're not going to have time actually. So we'll come back into our seated mountain pose. And we'll do a twist here. So let's bring our hands to heart center. And as you inhale, we'll reach those palms skyward. On your exhale, the torso twists to the right. Left palm to the outside of the right thigh. Right hand behind your seat, behind your back. The gaze can follow over that right shoulder. Inhales, find the spine lengthening. And exhales, find this twist deepening just a bit. Continuing to breathe into the twist. And let's take one more full breath cycle here. On your next inhale, we'll unwind. We'll reach those palms skyward. And on your exhale, the torso turns left, right palm to the outside of the left thigh, left hand behind your back on the seat. The gaze can follow over that left shoulder. Find yourself lengthening up through the spine and the crown of the head with each inhale. And finding a bit more space for this twist as you exhale. And let's take one more full breath cycle here. On your next inhale, we'll unwind, we'll reach those palms skyward, and the exhale brings hands to heart center. We'll just do a forward fold, and then we'll do a guided meditation. So we'll extend both our legs straight out in front of us with our knees and our toes facing skyward. You can hold on to either side of the chair for support. Inhale, we'll lengthen our spine. And as we exhale, we'll lead with our heart space, keeping that upper spine nice and straight. Exhale, softens into this forward fold. Inhales will lengthen that spine, keeping the upper spine nice and straight. Exhale, soften and release. Begin to direct your breath and awareness into the back of the legs, the hamstrings. Sending the inhales into any sensation. Exhale, softening and releasing any tension, any holding, any gripping. Continuing to notice the ebb and the flow of your breath. Continuing to create fluidity in your breath. And let's take one more full breath cycle here. And on your inhale, we'll bring that spine back up to neutral, sliding those feet in, coming back into our seated mountain pose. And we'll set up for a final guided meditation. And then I'd like to share a close with a poem of one of my favorite artists on Long Beach Island. So setting up for our meditation, we'll take the Jala Mudra by facing the palms up towards the sky and curling in the tip of the pinky finger to meet the tip of the thumb on each hand, the other three fingers extended out, and the backs of the palms rest softly on the thighs here. You're welcome to soften the gaze down or close your eyes entirely. And taking several natural breaths, tuning into any and all sensations that may be evoked by this gesture, the Jala Mudra, the gesture of water. And notice how your breath flows gently down into your pelvic area, the home of the water element. Begin to visualize the expression of water within your pelvis area, the sea of fluid infusing you with the quality of fluidity. And take several breaths to tune in to your pelvis more deeply. Sensing the water's essential quality of fluidity, bathing this area completely. And as your pelvis is infused with fluidity, waves of energy flow outward to nourish your entire being. And with your next inhale, tune in to the fluid essence within your pelvis. And as you exhale, sense waves of healing energy bathing your reproductive system completely, supporting optimal functioning. And with your next inhale, sending waves of healing energy to the center of your being. And as you exhale, sense the fluidity bathing your kidneys and your bladder with soothing energy. And with your next inhale, tuning into the fluid essence of your being. And as you exhale, Sense how this quality supports your lymphatic system in removing residues from your body and tissues efficiently. Taking several breaths to sense your lymphatic system as smooth flowing waves, purifying all of your body's organs to function optimally. With your next inhaling breath, reconnect to the seat of your water element, sensing healing waves of energy, bathing all of your muscles, tendons, ligaments with suppleness and flexibility, allowing your joints to be lubricated naturally. As your body is infused with the quality of fluidity, you naturally experience greater ease within your psycho-emotional being, nourishing your relationships and allowing you to flow through life with greater ease. With greater ease, you naturally embrace transitions more easily, feeling the ebb and the flow of your life's journey with greater ease. Repeating silently to yourself, with greater fluidity at all levels of my being, I move through life smoothly and easily. With greater fluidity at all levels of my being, I move through life smoothly and easily. With greater fluidity at all levels of my being, I move through life smoothly and easily. You may slowly release the mudra, returning to the natural rhythm of your breath. And once again, noticing any and all sensations, noticing and absorbing water's healing qualities, noticing the experience of fluidity within all of the dimensions of your being. And I'd like to close the practice with a poem by an author, Sandy Gringras. She's a local on Long Beach Island artist and poet, writer. And it's entitled, I Want to Be Like Sea Glass. Moved by tides, pulled by the mystery of the moon. I want to dance in the wild ocean, ride the currents of my life all the way in, land on wide open shores, rest on sand, and bask in the sun, and know that I am among treasure every single day. I want to be found by a dreamer, a walker of beaches. I want to be held, but gently, with open hands, because a part of me will always be free and a bit lost at sea. And maybe that's just the truth of loving anything. I want to be cherished for how my hard edges have softened with time, for how I have weathered my storms. I want to be seen for all that I am, not less because my colors have changed or because I have been broken, but more. I want to live like sea glass, to treasure every wave that carries me, even when these waves take me to places I don't want to go, even when I land hard. I want to shine quietly through all of my days, catching the light of every moment. I want to finally understand, oh please, that I am shaped uniquely by this my journey, and that shape is whole and very, very beautiful. And hands can come to heart center in Anjali Mudra, softly bowing your head towards your heart. And taking a moment to thank yourself for coming to this practice today. Revisiting any intention you may have set, coming back to the intention of creating ease and fluidity in the fluid body, which flows over into our psycho-emotional body, helping us to flow through our lives with greater ease. And the head comes back to neutral. And we'll close the practice with the sound of one Om, inhaling to prepare. Om. And I thank you all so very much for sharing this practice with me today. Namaste. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. And for the last 6 weeks, hopefully you all enjoyed it.